hypothyroidism is a very common disease, as well as Hashimoto's. I wanted to go over with you how I put my own hypothyroidism condition in remission and some steps that you can take right now that can help you on your own journey. If you could do me a very big favor though, if you could go ahead and subscribe to my channel and then hit that bell so you get a notification every time I release a new video. So I have been battling with hypothyroidism for very many years. I got diagnosed at the young age of 22 years old. I'm now 46 at this time of this video, and I had a pretty long journey. In the beginning, there was about a 15-year battle where I just really felt awful, and I would kind of be on a roller coaster. I would have some good days, and then I would have some bad days, and I started noticing that I was having more bad days than good days. And after about 15 years of being in and out of doctor's offices, being blown off, telling me that it was in my head, that I was maybe overreacting to my symptoms, I decided to take it upon myself, and I got certified in functional medicine. And during that certification, I started realizing that there was a lot of things that I was missing on my journey that were not necessarily things that were in the conventional medicine and Western medicine area. And I had to kind of start looking outside the box, and I started practicing functional medicine on myself. And this is essentially what put my thyroid condition in remission. I basically have had no thyroid symptoms. It's probably been about 9 years since I've got certified, and I really have had no symptoms since then. So I wanted to share with you a few of the things that I know have helped me dramatically, and I continue to maintain these so that I don't get any of my thyroid symptoms coming back. So one of the biggest areas is I started working on my gut health. And one of the ways that I did that was I started cutting out inflammatory foods. This was actually one of the biggest factors that I think everyone with thyroid disease should start considering. So I cut out things like gluten, sugar, soy. I cut out dairy for a while. I still am pretty sensitive to dairy, so I can't have it very often. But I do know that I work with a lot of women who even have Hashimoto's, and they eventually can have dairy again. But those were kind of the things I cut out initially. And then a lot of processed things. I made sure that I was eating most of my foods from the perimeter of the grocery store. So I was eating fruits and vegetables, proteins, starches, was throwing in some healthy fats, but the perimeter of the grocery store was basically where most of my foods were coming from. Another area that was really important for me that I know I probably would have never found this in conventional medicine because I've never really heard of it, is something called hair tissue mineral analysis. So it's HTMA test. And I started working on my minerals. Minerals were a huge factor as to why my body wasn't using my thyroid hormones, why I wasn't converting very well. And minerals were a really big area that helped me quite dramatically on my journey. And I still maintain it. I still recheck them every once in a while to make sure everything's status quo, and I'm doing fantastic with it. But this is an area that I feel like could be something you could investigate that could help with that. Another thing that really helped me a lot is I started constantly telling myself positive affirmations. And I know this kind of sounds woo-woo, but this was really an area that the more that I said that I repeated this over and over. I said my thyroid is happy and healthy. My thyroid is happy and healthy. I kept repeating it. The more I started saying positive affirmations, things started showing up that way. Sometimes I felt like I had my symptoms completely under control, and there were still days where it wasn't totally on track yet, but I still said the positive affirmations anyways. So I constantly was saying something good about myself and something positive about my thyroid so that my body would start listening. Remember, your body hears everything and your body will keep score. So that was a really important factor that I think everyone should practice. And I started working on stress. Stress management was big. The more that my body was under stress, the more of a chance I had that I was going to still have symptoms, and stress would affect how my thyroid hormones were getting in the cells, and if I was converting, even trying to keep thyroid antibodies away. I didn't want to have thyroid antibodies because I didn't have them then, and I just didn't want them to come. So I made sure that I was constantly working on stress management. I did meditation and tapping and went for a walk. I even started looking at my workouts, and I actually cut out cardio altogether, and I just started doing weight training. I was doing weight training and stretching, and this is essentially what I still do now. I don't do any cardio. I maybe do a 20-minute interval maybe a couple times a month, and that's about it. But I pretty much just stick with weight training, and that was actually a big one because I was killing myself with cardio and doing my workouts way too intense, way too long. way too often. And that was a big one that helped me a lot, was when I started realizing that I was actually over exercising. Focusing on when we're thinking a little bit more about gut health and anti-inflammatory foods, I actually made sure that I was keeping my foods and my meals balanced. So I made sure that I wasn't like skipping or completely cutting out an entire food group, like carbohydrates. I made sure I was eating protein, carbohydrate, fat at every single meal. My big meals always were a balance between those macros, and I made sure that I was having them all the time, instead of just focusing on making sure I'm getting only protein or cutting out carbohydrates altogether or cutting out fat altogether. I made sure that my meals were balanced, and this actually kept my blood sugar in control, which was really helpful for helping with my adrenals and helping with my thyroid overall. And another area that I wanted to mention as well that was a big factor for me was I started swapping out all my products, my beauty care products, my hair products, even things in my home. I swapped them out with more toxin-free products. So I made sure that all my swaps were more thyroid friendly. So many of these things had so many toxins in them and so many things in them and chemicals, stuff that my thyroid was not liking. And I didn't realize how much of a burden it was, because it was actually affecting my thyroid. It was actually affecting my liver, because everything has to filter through the liver. And my liver, was paying the price for it. And your liver is where the majority, over 60% of your thyroid hormone conversion happens. So I wanted to make sure I was giving my liver some love, which would in turn give my thyroid some love. So I swapped those products out. That was actually a really big thing that has helped me. Over the years, I have created a list that I now have. It's called Thyroid-Friendly Toxin-Free Guide. So I have the link below, so you can go grab that. But it is absolutely one of my favorite guides I created, because it literally gives you some of my favorite products that are toxin-free, they're thyroid-friendly. They have links in them that have some direct discounts. I have discount codes as well for some of these products, but they're all products that I've tried myself, and they essentially truly are toxin-free, and they actually work, because there are some products that are toxin-free and they don't necessarily work very well, or they'll claim they're toxin-free and they really aren't toxin-free. So these are tried and true. I totally trust these. I use them myself. So I have a link below, like I said, where you can go grab that thyroid-friendly toxin-free guide to make sure you can start doing some simple swaps. So those are kind of the big areas. Testing was actually a huge portion of what helped me as well. But outside of testing, these are some of the things that I feel like you can start right now that can help you on your journey, and at least start to guide you in the right direction as to where to even begin, because I know it's a very overwhelming disease. So let me know if you have any questions. Like I said, you can grab the link below for that toxin-free guide, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.